All right, let's call the Blanco County Commissioners Court order this Tuesday, February 27th, 2024. Ask Ms. Swan to call the roll.
Commissioner Brand, Commissioner Weir,
Here.
Commissioner Beaver, Commissioner Leisman,
Here.
Commissioner Riley.
Here. Please join us in praise of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one indivisible.
Thank you, Brian.
Let us pray. Father, thank you for this day. Thank you that you granted us this day to come to you, bring our needs. You're very well aware of them already, but you still instruct us in the word to ask you. We're doing that right now. Teach us, God, to learn to trust you in all manners. Teach us, God, and instruct us and help us to remember that you give us the wisdom to direct and leadership that's especially needed in this time in our hour that we're in. You are our provider. You are our protector. And God reminds us that we're not defined by what people say about us, but by your love, your forgiveness, and your Holy Spirit that lives inside each one of us. Thank you, Father, for all who are serving here today. I ask that you personally give them everything that is needed. In closing, God, you have this day completely under your control. So let us remind ourselves to go ahead and give up and surrender this day to you, because you are the general manager of our lives. Today, thank you for the joy that you fill us with. Thank you for the knowledge you give us, and help us to remember that we can trust you. I thank you for this wonderful opportunity, God, to serve you and minister. In Jesus' name I pray. All together say, amen. God bless y'all. Thank you.
Thank you, Pastor. Mr. Item 1 on your agenda. Consider approving the minutes.
I'll make a motion to dispense with the reading of the minutes and to approve the minutes as presented.
Is there a second? Second. Mr. Riley, discussion. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed. Motion carries. Item 2. The line item transfers to line item 3, ratifying bills and approved.
So I make a motion to ratify the bills in the amount of $7,803.45. And then approve the outstanding bills in the amount of $131,832.02.
Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Riley, discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Item 4. So this is nationally is the American Red Cross Month, and we've been provided with proclamation. Is there anyone here from the Red Cross today? I didn't think so. I did find interesting in the proclamation that they're proposing, approving, me to sign, talks about Clara Walker being the founder, or basically the founder of the Red Cross, and she was quite a woman. It's interesting to me because they refer to her as being woven into the fabric of our community and one of the most honored women in our country. Honestly, I don't think I knew much about Clara Barton, so you always can learn something, and it's good to find out new things about people. But the other point I want to make about this proclamation is that it highlights some of the things that they do. And people like Commissioner Leisman and Chief Maine and Sheriff and first responders and people that deal with emergencies know this, that their coverage is pretty wide, that they deliver shelter, food, and comfort when there's disasters, that they support military families and veterans, that they reconnect loved ones who've been separated when there are global conflicts. They do blood donations and other drives, and so they cover quite a bit of ground. And the important part of what we're asking the commissioners to approve is that we proclaim March 2024 as Red Cross Month here in Blanco County, and that we encourage all citizens to reach out and support their humanitarian mission.
I make a motion to approve the proclamation declaring March 2024 as Red Cross Month in Blanco County.
Is there a second? Second. Commissioner Weir, discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Item 9, last meeting. Did I say 9? Item 5. Last meeting, I asked you all if I wanted to just get a general feel if we were interested in any public-private partnerships, and it was one rousing. It wasn't any kind of standing ovation or anything. You seem to be somewhat interested, so it's back on the agenda today because there have been some. This thing develops week by week. It's very fast moving, and the Reconnect 5 program has put out some information, and David McCullough is here to help us to understand it a little better. I'll send Mr. Megan in there. So, Mr. McCullough, do you want to come forward and say a few words?
Yes, sir. Morning, commissioners. As Judge Ray mentioned, y'all see the news. There's a lot of government money being spent on broadband development, and what we're trying to gauge is the interest of the commissioners to have a public-private partnership between our company and the county of Blanco. Right now, there will be money spent. There will be companies from all parts of the United States bidding in our county to provide broadband services. If we have a public-private partnership, y'all get some say-so in how the money's spent, where broadband can be developed, how it's going to be developed, and what have you. If it's a third party from outside our community, they're not really going to engage the county commissioners. They're engaging the FCC, and going by the way FCC and some USDA market data states. So what we're looking at is how we can partnership together to actually bring broadband to greater areas within the county. As Judge Ray mentioned, this thing's moving quite quickly. Right now, the Reconnect 5 program was just actually formalized last week, so we do have some more data of how that money can be spent in eligible areas in our county. If you look at the map I provided on one page, the areas that are unshaded right now can be considered as eligible areas. Even some of the shaded areas with some of the provisions in the new Reconnect 5 allow some of these areas also to have broadband. But these are already awarded areas by a large group out of North Texas called NextLink. And so they've won all these areas that are in blue, and they do plan on building those areas out. However, we do have an opportunity to go into the non-shaded areas, and we also have an opportunity, even in some shaded areas, to reclaim that as eligible areas. So we're just trying to gauge interest. This is something the county commissioners and the judge would like to partnership on. Not asking for any, I guess, formal thing at this point, except to have further conversations, and does this partnership make sense? What does this partnership look like? That's what we're trying to achieve here. The Reconnect 5 application applies starting March 22nd, and it will close April 22nd. So there's a 1 month period to get our application in if we are going to have a public-private partnership bidding on this area. That gives us another 3 to 4 weeks to develop our partnership formally to come up with how we're going to apply for the area for funds for broadband development.
Now, there's different definitions and excuse me, different times for different definitions of public-private partnership. But what I was intending to imply in this context and this conversation is that the county partners with a local company like you to get funds, not for the county to fund or underwrite broadband projects, right?
That is correct. This is just exactly so. It's a union between us to apply for the federal funds.
And if there's, and that's not to say that there might not be some minor county expense involved in the application process, but not any kind of expense like what would be involved in an actual digging to recruiting fiber project.
That is correct, yes, sir. I mean, these are multi-billion dollar projects into the tens of billions. And this is more of an application type fee things. If we are awarded, there is reimbursement that can occur also from these fees.
A couple of quick things, just to reiterate on this map that you provided.
Yes.
This is a big change from the previous one, which showed a company up north somewhere that has one for county pretty much locked up.
Yes, sir.
But it doesn't seem to have a lot of interest in actually doing
Anything. That's exactly right. Y'all see it when the government starts offering large quantities of data, people come from the woodworks. And we did back in 2016, 2015, there were a lot of large companies that just locked up many counties across the country. Building some of them out, not building other ones out. They have 10 plus years to try to build if they choose to at some point in time. And we did. The county was locked up previously, previous boards that we were pursuing. But because of how they wrote Reconnect 5, and because of the era of time that's passed, these areas in this county is not as locked up as it was once before.
So if the commissioners were of the mind to do so, would it, if they were to authorize the county and Hill Country to propose that, put together an application on March 22?
Well, by April 22.
Between March 22 and April.
Yes, that's correct.
If the commissioners chose to do that, are we locked in and committed, or is that just an application?
It's an application process based on if we become awarded, then we can still select, I don't know, one money because there's any, whatever reason, constraints in there, or we can accept the award. We do have that choice at the end.
So wouldn't it be a good thing to ask the commissioners for permission to go ahead and make this application?
I would feel that's, yes, sir, as long as they can.
Is there a step I'm missing?
No, just because of the private partner formalities, it would be a formality between our company and the county to go after the application. So it's actually two-part in there. One just formalization, and we have to documented it would be a formal relationship.
That's-
And then we
So any kind of motion to make an application would be subject to county attorney approval of a review of our
partnership. Yes, sir.
partnership. Actually, this is on February.
We got a line, more or less.
We could actually approve a partnership document next meeting and still be in the timeline. Right?
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
And this isn't foreign because you and Mr. Bailey worked on previous application before we knew the county was so locked up in the previous program.
That is correct.
So we know how to make applications. And it has to be even on county payroll that has helped.
That is correct. And we have grant writers offices in this process and legal teams that understand how these are funded, constraints that can be varied within these programs.
Are you thinking about using the same Oklahoma?
That would be our suggestion. We're obviously open-minded because of our experience with them, their success rate, it makes some sense to continue using them.
And that was going to cost the county some.
On the original application, when we were talking about the program, yes, sir, that would cost some money, yes, sir.
I forget the number. It seemed like it was less than 20,000.
Oh, yes, sir, I think the whole thing is 15, and we were gonna split it in some ratio.
I've asked more than one questions.
Sure.
I'll open it to the
Okay.
commissioners. Any thoughts? Any interest?
That's what the cost would be today, and
We do
at
not,
15.
we do not know, it's probably somewhere in that ballpark, but we do, the public partner partnership, it starts to establish how the funds will be spent between the county and us, the company. We need to figure that out, we have to go out and talk to our grant writers to see if is this a $10,000 deal or 20 or what, but I just guess if you somewhere in that ballpark.
Well, we're not asking the commissioners to commit to a dollar figure today.
I was just saying, public, private, can we engage in a discussion to figure out how this would work? Then we can come back to the commissioner and say, okay, if we're going to apply for this application, here are the costs associated with it, here's the formal arrangement between the county and our company.
Does that help?
But for today, it's an information item only, so we can't really take a vote on it today.
Okay,
But we can take a vote on it on the following commissioners court meeting.
okay,
So,
okay.
I do this, I'd like to talk to you offline a little bit more, try to understand a little bit more about the infrastructure and what it's gonna take to get this accomplished.
Okay, great, good to hear that.
So I guess, even though it's an information item only, whatever you can take away in terms of interest
Okay.
from the commissioners based on the comments they made, then, put it on the next agenda.
Sounds good. Any other questions for me, sir? Okay, thank you for y'all's time.
Item 6 on the agenda, presentation by Ms. Sanders. And,
Hi, good morning. How are y'all? I wanted to give you some highlights about the youth exhibit hall event that we just had. And I think first things first is we were in the brand new exhibit hall having our contest. So we were very pleased to be in there. I think, or we will be the first people to use it. Good, we loved it. It was very nice. So our contest is open to all 4-H, FCCLA, and FFA members. And we've got 5 classes of competition. We've got foods, which is probably the most popular, spelling book hobbies, fine art and photography, and then educational exhibits. There's some information there in your packet. We're continuing to see our exhibitors pay for or save for college, camps, supplies for next year, even put some of their exhibit hall money towards animals for next year. I know last year Commissioner Leeson said that his son put it towards a home, which is amazing. We've had cars purchased. So my coworker and I, Carly Howell, are going to do a survey very soon and ask all of the 4-H members a simple question, just say, what do you do with this money? And that way we can find out where it's going and what they're using it for. So all the prizes this year, for sweepstakes, champion, reserve champion, were all sponsored by community members and businesses. So that was bubbles, tote bags, travel bags, and we even got ribbons and rosettes sponsored, because we had people coming in saying, I want to buy that buckle for a kid, and we only had 2, so we gave them another opportunity to help sponsor. So there's a chart there that shows our growth. We're up in numbers for individual exhibitors. The exhibits that are coming in are up, our prize money went up, and our silent auction went down just a little bit, but I think it's because in 2023, everybody was spending lots and lots of money. So it just went down a little bit, but it's still going up for other years, so.
Do you think part of that spending less was the time lapse in the show and the actual sale?
I'm not sure. We sold all of the food that Friday. That was January, I can't remember the dates now, and then we had everything else stay in the building. So our hobbies, sewing, fine art, it all just stayed. And then we had another hour and a half of bidding the day of the sale. So I don't know how to know if that was the difference or not. I do think it helped us to be in the front of the show barn in 2023 while the building was under construction. But now that it's there, I'm gonna use it. So I don't see us going back in the front, so.
Addison and Justin, not able to use it.
I don't guess they're here.
Carly?
A little update on the county show as far as the livestock. We did have 191 exhibitors in the show this year, and we had 391 entries in the show this year. We had 185 sale lots, which is up from 2023. Our live auction total was $394,500. Our add-on total was $302,515. And which made our total sale amount $737,315. Our scholarship fund received $6,850 during the auction with the salsa contest. And the dates for the 2025 show is going to be January 3rd and 4th, with the sale being on the 11th.
You're gonna split again?
Yes. So we did have a meeting about that recently, and the consensus with everybody's opinions was that with the sale numbers being up this year, excluding last year's sale numbers, that we're thinking that it's because of the realtors maybe not spending as much this year, not just them, but other businesses as well, compared to other years in the past. Property sales were up in COVID era, so that may be a contributing factor. And then since they were down last year, our sales were just, our sale was good this year, but compared to 2023's sale, was not as good, if that makes sense.
So is the Gillespie County and Blanket County gonna be the same time again next year?
If I'm understanding your question correctly, our sales are not gonna be on the same day, so that's why we're.
But the shows are the same day.
I'm not 100% sure, I won't lie to you, but I think they are the same day or around the same time. We also didn't want to overlap with the district show as well, so that was another reason for the dates being the 3rd and 4th was not the 11th.
I'm really surprised that the add-on money is nearly as high as the upfront one. That's amazing,
Sorry.
because, I usually try to stack the add-ons, but they're small, and they're almost in comparison, so they're not $5,000.
Yeah. Yes.
Anything else?
So that's it for the county show. I apologize for not having that document to you guys in time. I was still trying to wrap the numbers, so I apologize. But I want to have you guys in a copy. For the major shows, for just our 4-H members, we had a lot of success going to our majors at our grandstand show. Heston Hornberger received Reserve Grand Champion Market Land. His sister Addison got first and third place in her classes. Lila Graham, Hank Doyle, Ollie Doyle, Cole Miller, Taylor Strout, and Lainey Strout also did really well. Taylor even got first in her class as well. Our steer showers, we had Ava Craig and Preston Craig and Alan McCoy. Ava got third. In turkeys, we had Michael and Daniel Axtell. They all did very well. In Fort Worth, Ava and Preston Craig went on to Fort Worth, and then for Landon Goats, we had Addison and Heston again, and San Angelo as well, and Cole Miller. And all those kiddos did very well. Some of them made sales, some of them, tried their best and still did very well, doing what they do best. I did also want to, advertise a little bit, but I do have a program coming up on March 21st. This is really good information if you're a new landowner or a small acreage landowner. We're going to be talking about range stewardship and water conservation, and also a little bit on livestock grazing management. We're going to be offering 2 hours of general CEUs, and there's more information on our Facebook and our website.
Do you know if the overriding or the primary reason for the splitting the sale from the show dates is about convenience for the entrance or the people that operate the show?
I don't know. I think from what I've been told, and from what I did see this year, granted I am a little bit newer, so I don't have any experience from last year, but a lot of our buyers do go to Burnett County, Gillespie County, and other surrounding counties, and so I think that we're just trying to get as many buyers as we possibly can at our show, or at our sale.
Yeah, that's really where I was leading. It seems counterintuitive to split it up like that. Because you're right, there are buyers I know that come from Fredericksburg, and they're having to spread out to 4, 5, 6 different county shows.
I can definitely pass that information along to the rest of the.
They invest.
Okay.
Commissioners, anything else?
That's all I have. Thank you.
The standards we moving into item 7.
Commissioner Leeson asked me to come and talk about the Walker Cross Texas Physical Activity Challenge. In 2023, we did it as a county, and we had 15 county employees participated, and they earned a day of annual leave. And I think this worked well, it was good motivation. Was it a half a day? Okay, all right, I'll correct that on my report. So half a day, 4 hours. So 15 people got to go home early on a Friday, which is really nice. And I think that would definitely motivate a lot of people. So one thing that we know about Blanco County that is in this report is that 23% of us, Blanco County adults, are not physically active. And what we do know is that walking is probably the easiest thing. It's not expensive. You can walk in, down the road and back. And so it's very accessible to us and easy to do. The Walker Cross Texas is motivating because you're on teams of 8 people. No one is literally standing outside of your house waiting on you to hurry up, but your mileage and steps are combined. Or maybe it would be nice if someone was standing out in front of your house waiting on you, because then you're accountable to somebody. We've had teams made up of people in different cities. We had a couple last year on our team that didn't even live in Blanco County that joined us in counting those. This will be the third year in a row that we offer this program. We had a great result in 2020, and then we skipped 2021. Nothing happened that year, right? And we continued in 2022 last year and then this year. So I guess, did you want to?
Well, I'd like to bring it in front of the court again to see if we'd be willing to do another incentive like we did last time and do a 4 hour of annual leave for people that participate.
Yes.
Okay. You seem very excited about what West Texas Treasury.
One thing about, you were saying one thing about Blanco County is that, I guess, the rural rate or something?
Well, the obesity rate is 35%. 35% of us, I always include myself, I live here too, I'm an adult. But 35% of adults in Blanco County are obese.
Yeah, that's probably not different from the country, but what I was gonna say is, another thing about Blanco County is it's highly competitive. Carly, and you should know, show experiences that it's a very competitive county in some ways.
Yes.
And, this little walk across Texas thing got really competitive.
That's good, that's good.
So you should know, you were.
Yes, I was talking too, and I really wish it was gonna start before my coworker was going to the Houston Livestock Show, because I feel like she's gonna get a lot of steps that week. But the dates that Commissioner Leisman and I discussed were March 19th through May 13th, that's 8 weeks. As we know, that's the prettiest time in Texas, I think all year, so it's a nice time to get out and walk.
To my point about competitive, is we're better getting in on steps.
Yes. Or do you want to be on our team? Is that what you're asking?
All right, I do need a motion.
I think we do, I'll make a motion to offer the same incentive as we did last year to employees who participate in the program of a 4 hour annual leave.
Second. Sorry. Mr. Riley, discussion. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. One more thing. So I noticed that you and Commissioner Leisman have buddied up on these agenda items, so I'm guessing you're in communication with him. I have not spoken with him about this, only Commissioner Weir, but I'm curious if you have spoken with Commissioner Leisman about a possible new home for Adler.
I have spoken to Commissioner Weir about that.
Now, what I'm asking is, again, these items that you and Commissioner Leisman are in communication a lot. I'm just curious, because we are in an open meeting, I'm curious if you have spoken with Commissioner Leisman about a possible new agri-life home.
No.
You might want to do that.
Okay, I'd love to do that.
Very good. You are aware, you are aware that Mr. Haynes and Mr. Weir are having, Michael Haynes, your
Yes.
supervisor,
Yeah, we spoke last week.
are having discussions about finding the money.
So my understanding is that Michael Haynes, who's the district extension administrator for District 10 and my supervisor, has been discussing it with the Texas A&M Foundation so that it would be funded through donors to them, to us, so that there would be a fully funded building
To the extent possible.
to AgriLife.
Right.
Yes.
With the county, we're not saying we're not, I'm not expecting a no spend some part of the county.
Okay, well, I did want to commend you
But
to.
anything we can defray, that's great.
Yes.
Okay.
It's been so preliminary that I haven't mentioned much of it because we've just gotten off the ground with Mr. Haynes. But it sounds positive, it sounds real positive.
It does, and he had just, I mean, this is like new, because he just talked to them Thursday, is that when I called you
Yeah.
about it? So, there's different strategies that they have for alumni who donate money to the A&M Foundation. And one of them is that you maybe have two big donors, or you have donors who want an office named after their family, and maybe the other office is named after another family. So they've got strategies and access to the funds.
So you and Commissioner Weir looked at diagrams.
I have not seen a diagram,
The,
but I think we're gonna look at them today.
you and I have said it's roughed out some plans.
Yeah.
And what the trees might be.
You discussed it, you know, you have a couple offices, a common area, a big storage area.
That's right.
And then I've since had them put on a CAD machine where we have an idea what they look like. And then I've taken that and sent it to Mr. Haynes, so that Mr. Haynes can see if anybody's interested in doing it.
If I have a reason for asking this, if this were to happen, could the building be designated a support shelter for disaster?
What would that entail?
Well, see, when the flood hit, in Lyco, Jim of the Hills put out about 70-something cots for people to get a little shut up. That kind of thing.
I don't think it's gonna be near that big.
It's pretty small, but it's still
I'm not talking about the size,
Oh.
just the concept of could it be used for some kind of shelter purpose?
Possibly.
That may make some more funds.
I see, okay. There's what we had drawn out was one part, a storeroom for all of our accessories and, program supplies, so there would be that room.
It's an open concept freestanding, so you could turn that into an emergency facility pretty quick, actually.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
Item 8 on your agenda, appraisal district's budget amendment. I think you've got the document in front of you. And essentially, they are not asking for additional money. They're just wanting to create a sort of capital improvement or capital sinking fund with savings that they're going to have this year. Excuse me, can't ask your question.
So Judge, my question on that is this gonna be a continuing thing, or is this gonna be,
I don't speak for the appraisal district, so I don't know. But all I know is what they're asking for this year. So it's a total of $28,600 that they want to not relate back to us, but put it into their surplus fund.
have we said it?
Let me back up on that, because I think that 28,600 is the total, not our piece.
Yes,
Our piece is only what, about
7,000.
So I certainly can't speak for the school districts or any other taxing entity.
Have you heard from any of those other districts?
So that's the request, that they'd be allowed to take our $7,000 and put it in a capital fund.
I make a motion to allow the appraisal district's request for a budget amendment. This should be on an annual basis.
You are approving the annual basis?
Well, yeah, so if they wanted to try to do this again next year, they'd have to come back and do the same thing.
Okay, so one time.
One time, right?
I'll second it.
Mr. Weir seconds, discussion. All in favor, say aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item 9, specs and purchase for 2 router antennas. Any further pleasure?
I make a motion to approve the specs and purchase of two GPS driver antennas for the new Explorers as outlined in the capital equipment section.
Is there a second? Commissioner Riley, discussion. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Item 10, approval of the MOU with the county, between the county sheriff and the county attorney and the Hill Country Children's Advocacy Group.
I make a motion to approve, from Commissioner Court, from Commissioner Court, for the Hill Country Children's Advocacy Center, MOU, and authorized signatures from county sheriff and county attorney, pending county attorney approval.
Is there a second? Second. Commissioner Brown, discussion. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Item 11, Commissioner, Student Constable Fisher's racial profile report.
I make a motion to acknowledge the racial profiling report from Constable 1 office.
Is there a second? Second. Commissioner Brown, discussion. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Item 12, the constable and sheriff have jousted over a potential employee, and the constable at the moment is in the lead and wants to send Counselor to ACOG for a regional law enforcement academy, and is asking for your approval.
I make a motion to authorize the approval of sponsor Morgan Calvert by Precinct 1 Constable Office to represent Buncombe County in the ACOG Regional Law Enforcement Academy.
Is there a second? Second. Commissioner Brown, discussion. Do you want to say anything? Good. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, motion carries. Item 13, tiny house village. Commissioner Bishop.
So this is one that we've been working on for quite some time. We approved some amendments to it, to the regulations, and I believe we have all the information that we need to get this underway. So I'd like to make a motion to approve the proposed tiny home village Texas Glamptown LLC off Philstone Ridge Drive.
Is there a second?
Second.
Commissioner Wood, discussion. What have been the holdups?
The holdups was the discussion over planning and talking back and forth on the planning on.
So the holdups is just making sure that we're following all the rules and guidelines that are according to the county and what's needed. So just time to get an engineering to do the survey and topographical survey, drainage analysis, working with all that from the water district. So just getting that all during the holidays is a little bit, that took us some time, but now we have it, so that's really.
Is this the development out to the west of here?
Yes.
Yes.
And are these, the original proposal was 5 or 6 of these?
4.
4?
5 total max. We have space for 5, but we're just starting with 4.
Not trying to trap you, these are just generalized questions.
Yeah.
And it seems like there was an issue that was brought here some time ago about the road going in, or what you needed, and you.
We already have a road contractor and we got a letter of credit. We are starting construction on that next week. We have letters to our neighbors to let them know that this is starting in the next few weeks.
You resolved all your issues with the commissioners in the county.
Yes.
Anything you want to add?
No, just exactly.
How big do you think you're going to make this?
Not big. We just want it to be a small space to get away from the city.
And is this basically been where this kind of thing?
Yeah. And my in-laws used to run Peachtree, the Peachtree and the Fredericksburg RV Park. So my husband's from Fredericksburg, and this is just kind of within his family, and our goal one is to move closer to our family, because I have a daughter and I have kids, so I'm just move my life out here eventually.
You're not here now.
No, I live in Austin.
Anything else? All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Item 14. Item 14, replat, Wilson Seniors.
So this one is pretty simple replat here on Los Casinos Drive. The highway frontage is sufficient. So I make a motion to approve the replat of Lot 1 Los Casinos subdivision. New lots to be known as Lot 1A and 1B.
And that's your motion,
Yes, sir.
and they're each 5 acres.
Please, yes, sir.
Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Riley. Or Mr. Riley. All right. Anything else? Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 15, internet service of carriers.
So, talking with HC Wireless, they've done some work at the show farm. And this is the internet service at the exhibit hall and at the concession stand. So I'd like to make a motion to approve the installation of internet service at the fairgrounds.
I'll say.
Commissioner Eastman's motion, Commissioner Weir's second, discussion. No, it's really small.
There's backside of
Even bigger than it's really small.
it. It is. Phil Country Wireless is doing us a great favor, and they've been working with the county on other projects and keeping the cost down on internet services.
Did you ever determine if the cable at that point on 281 by the fairgrounds is on the east or west side of it?
So the cable of the 281 is on the east side of the road as all the lines cross the river on the east side of the bridge. But it is down around the stripes area, and they're continue down that way.
Which do you think they're going to do across the road? Or
I bet they'll probably end up coming down.
any other discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item 16, private road subdivision.
All right, so we have a parcel of land out on 65 that the two Ford Ventures LP is wanting to turn into 10+ acre parcels and has filed for an out-of land location to move forward with subdivision. And we've been in discussions about the subdivisions for a while now.
Okay, so the second of the two items is about whether to accept or reject the plat application.
The 17 is acknowledgement of notice of cancellation.
Okay, would be acknowledging the cancellation of the plat.
This is the affidavit of land location.
It's 16.
You asked for
16.
16.
And I'm gonna just, have this discussion with you in open meeting, okay? So this affidavit is like some others we are seeing or anticipating.
Yes.
Where, where they would get around, and file any kind of a subdivision plan. After subdividing land. And lots of it's based on the 10-acre exclusion. And our choices are accept the affidavit or not?
Yes.
And was this one of the rules where I believe that it's you and I can sign it, or we don't, it goes to the commissioner's court?
Correct.
Is that?
The land there, yes.
Yes, and is that, so this one's new under the new rules,
Correct.
and we chose not to sign it,
Correct.
so here it is.
Correct.
Okay. That doesn't necessarily mean that you couldn't, in commissioner's court, vote for it, you just didn't want to sign it without the commissioners taking a look at it.
Correct.
Also doesn't necessarily mean you're for it either.
Correct.
I know these are simplistic, but just trying to get all out there. The letter, you want to talk about the letter?
Yes. So, in reference to all that, we have a letter from Holland Knight Law Firm.
So, I saw Mr. Shockey walk in, and I think I might have seen, last name, first name is Micah. And then, I have a question for you to start.
Yes.
You were still with,
We're both on it, so Andrew and I are I was going to say.
you're with, yeah, thank you. Good, and then Holland and Knight is now, Mr. Shockey has chosen to have two firms engaged in this with us, right?
I think that was pre-existing. We have different focus areas. We focus more on litigation practice. Mine is more maintenance real estate, so that's the distinction.
But there are two firms, is the other firm here too?
He's on.
But there are now, I mean, based on the web list, there's now two firms talking to us about this item. Yes?
I guess you did, yes.
Well, you addressed it to the county commissioner.
Yeah.
Okay. I think everybody's read it. I don't see how it's much different than what the conversation we had before. Do you want to highlight it?
I think the goal is just to kind of lay out the statutes and the applicable law in a memo, and then just, regarding that orally. So, but if I wanted to see the code references and so forth, you have it.
There was something I read recently that talked about my analogy last time we talked. I thought it was in this letter, but maybe it's not. No. Right, here it is. Idea that the use of the drive by certain members of the public, including, for example, delivery vehicles and tradespersons, means it's dedicated to the public, is not supported by the law, and so the planning exception cannot be rendered inapplicable by the planned use of the drive. And that was based on my expression of belief that you can't control the neighbors, you don't control the road, you don't control the roads, public road. And this is saying hogwash, basically.
Just as to certain times. But it's a hogwash, but.
I have a couple questions, and I'm sure I won't hijack this. Do you know, there's some of this property, you may have had to decline, some of this property abuts 165.
Correct.
So are there any deed restrictions or covenants on, say, the lots that are abutting 165 about setbacks?
I don't have those in front of me. If there are setback requirements per deed, we would agree with those.
You don't want to do? Is it, in the commissioner's experience, is it pretty standard? Do we normally have setbacks, again, from a public road?
On the county,
Yeah.
our county road or state road, we don't have any setbacks in the county other than that. We have 0 lot. Other than that, so, and what?
And there's a setback rule in our subdivision rules to make it very minimal. I think it's a 5 foot, 10 foot, something like that.
Is okay, so that would be within the subdivision, way we write the subdivision without the county involved.
I think there will be a setback just in terms of what the design requires and what makes sense. I don't know if there's any kind of building up to the property line.
So if the commissioner's court approves the affidavit of land location, and it's pretty much stamps that it's a private road. If I bought a lot in there and blocked it off and blocked the road somehow, for whatever reason, I just decided to block the road. Doesn't that say I am not subject to being cited for obstructing the public road?
No, it would be a private issue where it would be a violation of the future HOA rules, and a violation of easement rights. So that would have to be addressed privately among parties.
So the sheriff couldn't cite me, the constable couldn't cite me, and what I did, whatever. And so if I blocked the road, and somebody had a heart attack, I might have some civil liability, but there's no citation.
You know, it has to scour the code, but, I think it would just be like get a shared driveway with a neighbor, you know, it's not a public roadway.
So you know that, this has come up more than just at your client's instance. It's a deal that the county's struggling with, and it's our impression that many counties are struggling with this right. It's kind of a new trend. The gated communities, and based on the change in legislation.
I think there is a benefit to it. I mean, I know that counties, I think yours, that there's angst about lack of land use controls and so forth. I think there is an inherent benefit to the 10-acre exception, which is since counties can't control density, it's an encouragement of having larger lot sizes and not having too much density in an area. Because you're incentivizing developers to have at least 10-acre size lots. So at least it's some benefit there. That makes it better.
But the trade-off, they can build whatever kind of road they want.
That's right.
And they don't have to worry about any water availability study.
Well, the rules are different, you're right. I know that we have some water secured already. I think the rest of it's in process. It's something that we take very seriously, of course.
But let's just imagine a 5,000 acre tract that wanted to do the same thing. They could build their own little roads, and they could drill 50 wells, and without any water availability studies, so if neighbors' wells goes dry, then who are the neighbors coming to?
I agree that is a concern for some developments, not ours. But that's not part of the analysis.
So then another question I have for you, if I bought a 10-acre tract in the back of this proposed subdivision, that you're guys proposing, and I want to split my 10 acres to 2 5-acre tracts to give to my sons as a family division. Now, it's not, so in that scenario, what happens with the road? Does the road have to be brought up to the other standards?
What was the last part of that question?
Does the road have to be brought up to the standards that are actually in the rules and regulations? If I took my 10-acre tract and I divided it to my 2 sons, 5 acres and 5 acres.
I haven't looked at that specific question, so. But if it's a private road and a private property, and it's a legal.
So the thing you just got the loophole of the whole scenario of 10-acre tracts. My 2 sons can sell their tracts, no problem.
That's what the legislature decided. I mean, I didn't make.
You can come in and cut it in a 5-acre tract.
We cannot,
Well, the way he mentioned the family can take a 10-acre tract, divide it into 2 5-acre tracts, and that's not re-subdividing. It would be, wouldn't it?
it's a division of land. I think there is an exception for land divided, with family members. But I'm not gonna opine on something I haven't looked at that specific situation, apologize. Like, all we were asking is for the commissioner's court to apply the law, which is very succinct, brief, plain part of the law, to the facts.
So, Mr. King, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, here's the struggle I'm having in applying the law. If the legislature take the view of some developers, county's hands are completely tied in many respects. If the legislature seriously want to do that, why don't we just have a bullet bureau in Austin that, and take you took all the resources from all the counties, took all of Ms. Harrison's and all the county commissioners' time and everything, everybody spends on subdivision track, plats, regulation, and just shifted the whole thing and put it in Austin, maybe centralize it, and they can control it and tell an agency, this is a public road, this isn't, this 10-acre section applies here, but instead, they farmed it out to 254 sub-entities in Texas, and I'm going to plead guilty that I have a bias from a regulatory background that had to do with consumer protection. And I'm having trouble getting my arms around the idea that the legislature doesn't want us to consider landowner purchasers. You know, the thing I hear a lot, I know you're taking the arrows for Mr. Shockey and for all the other developers that Steve's going to come in here, and I apologize for that, but the thing I hear a lot is, why, these are sophisticated buyers who buy land in Buffalo County, it's expensive and you gotta know what you're doing. The truth is, they may know what they're doing, they look at it, but they don't really look at it. People buy tracts of land all the time, they don't know, they see a big pretty stone gate, and they don't know what the ramifications of that are, in my opinion. And so I feel that places a burden on this commissioner's court, any county's commissioner's court, to have to balance protecting the public and applying the law properly and fairly.
I agree with this, that we're protecting them. But, I mean, we're asking for property growth. And that's what it goes down to. That's what this whole thing is going down to. Because the water availability was there. You had it runs. We're talking about a road that can be safely traveled by our emergency services or by UPS or whoever is stuff put in there. Predominantly the emergency services. The fire breaks out, which one did 2 years ago, real close to that area. And
Yeah.
That's the discussion.
I certainly understand the need and desire to promote and protect the public interest and end users. And I think that in this particular case, I can't speak to all elements, right? But my client, this developer, have designed the roads in such a way that they have adequate turning radius, adequate room to maneuver. So none of that won't be a concern. I know it will be a safe private drive for emergency access vehicles if they were ever needed.
Is that according to,
Sorry?
is that according to your plan?
Him and his engineers, yeah. And so, but I also have to set aside any policy questions about the legislature's decision-making process. I can't second guess them. All I have to deal with is the law that they give us. And I can't, if I were in your shoes, ignore it because I have issues with it, you know? It's just very.
Would you have issues with if it's in your backyard, like it is in ours? Would you have issues with that?
I would not.
You wouldn't have issues with the subpar subdivision coming into your backyard?
I wouldn't describe it as subpar. I agree with you.
The possibility that that could happen is real because of this law in your state.
I think the only thing that will be different primarily is the pavement will be less than a typical suburban subdivision.
For what reason? Save $200,000-300,000?
That's
That was the reason?
there is a cost difference.
Is that the total reason?
I think it's
Does
also,
that have anything to do with safety? Does it have anything to do with anything else?
I think it has to do with what's necessary and reasonable for that small of a subdivision.
We have a county spec road in this county. It's defined you can read exactly what they're asking. And when you don't go there, you're building a stub county spec road.
But this is not a road, we're building a private drive.
Oh, your private drive still sub-spec. So would you be willing to put that on your plat, letting your homeowners know that that road is not being built to county spec, it is sub-spec? Because that's what it is.
We are simply asking for the exception that applies to be applied and respected. I mean, that's really all.
Respect is built to county spec, and respect that rule. And that's that's the only problem in this subdivision, whether it's 10 acres or not. You build a road to county spec, I don't see any other problems. And if you're not building to county spec, you're doing it for one reason. Now, in my mind, it is to save $200,000 or $300,000 for the developer, not for homeowners or anything else, for the developer.
I think legally the reason doesn't matter.
Yes, it does.
So, did you say that, your function at Winstead is more like trying to find a peaceful solution and Holland and trying to get more about litigating, or did I get that backwards?
I think that's probably their skill set more than mine is litigation.
So let's say, the commissioner's court just can't go on with this proposal and Holland and I, on behalf of Mr. Shockey, chooses to sue us. I just want to kind of make sure I frame this right. Really what we're talking about are the words intended by the owner of the tract to be dedicated to public use, right? That's that A3 piece.
That's right.
And some judge, somewhere, we have to tell the county, Mr. Shockey's intent is controls, and what he says is, what he says controls, or, county, you're right, you can call this public road. Somebody's got to make that decision. If we can't agree here, right?
Yeah, and the Texas Transportation Code provision that we put in the memo, includes language about what a dedication must be. It must be an explicit, voluntary grant of the use of the private road for public purposes. And
That's in Mr.
communicated to the board.
Memo, right?
Yes, sir. And since neither of those are at play, I don't know how under state law you would construe it as being a dedication to the public if those statutory requirements have not been met.
In fact, you would, I'm sure, argue that, that it is in fact the opposite, that Mr. Shockey absolutely does not explicitly voluntarily grant the use of private roads for public purpose.
Right, Josh?
Right.
Does not do that in any public purpose.
Right. Absolutely. No.
Right. Invitees and guests of own future owners, that would not render it a public road.
Can you say that's first party?
So of course there would be invitees, like with any property, like, FedEx, it's being a delivery. But that alone would not destroy the private nature of the roadway.
So I have a house here in Johnson City, and I've got a driveway. And the UPF and the Amazon guy pulls into the driveway and delivers the package. They're an invitee, right?
There you go.
An invitee. I've invited Amazon onto my driveway.
I'm guessing that's what they would be characterized as.
Say that again?
I think that's how they would be characterized.
And so I do that, and it's on me, it's my driveway, and they're in it privately as an invitee. And the struggle that I have, I can't speak for these gentlemen, the struggle that I have is, so many, 17 different families are deciding who gets to come up and down that road. And we just keep going back and forth. Mr. Shockey doesn't intend it for public purposes, of course, which is the statutory matters, but I just have trouble not saying that it's for public use. And different from somebody's personal driveway.
I don't know how much more clear the statutes should be. I mean, there's no specification, there's no court order for adverse possession, there's no purchase by the county of the roadway. But none of the requirements that is set out in law to make it a public roadway are there.
Do you know if it's already, or if it's the intent to fence off these tanker tracks, like, some people call them HAs, is it called things?
I don't know if it would be fenced.
The whole entire property is fenced.
But are you gonna fence each individual lot?
They're only allowed to fence in up to 1 acre around their personal residence. The rest of it is shared use land.
So it's an acre within the 10 acres.
Yes.
So do you imagine that to get to the acre within the 10 acres, you have to leave the road coming from the gate to go on to the 10 acre tract?
I don't understand.
Called the driveway. Yeah, so.
But their property line butts up to the road.
The property line butts up to the road, and from that road to the house, or 1 acre fenced area, it's going to be it's going to be a driveway.
It wouldn't be any different than a parking lot in a private club.
So my point, Mr. King, is that the driveway is, I don't see that as different from my driveway in the little house in Johnson City. It's my driveway, I control it. Right?
Sure.
But it's coming off of a road that everybody wants to argue is a private road. But if someone argues a private road, but I don't control it, that's just what I get back to that every single
Well,
way.
you could have a condo development with 20 owners in the condo regime. They're all sharing a driveway, they have different little pathways to their house or their unit. But nobody can say that that's a public roadway.
Okay. I can. But I understand it. And I wouldn't want the commissioners to be misled. I could very well be wrong about this and not. It's just a position that I have, but I can't tell you 100% certain that it's a winning position.
I think the legislature last session, when they changed the law on this and said that what matters is the owner's intent to dedicate streets, squares, parks, or other parts to the public use. Was a very clear signal about what the legislature deemed to be public and not public, and when the planning exception applies.
Only the legislature understood the problem that we have out here with water availability. They understand the problem we're having out here with roads from past developments when they had something like this on their laws before. Finally thought better of it, changed it, now they're going back. I don't think that they come out here and spend any time looking at what happens here. I think that they sit up there and they make their decisions off their logics.
So, but let's just take that. That was the phrase I read, and I even recited it because you know my heart. And we'll shrink it, parse it a little more. Develop, it's the owner's intent. That's Mr. Shockey's intent, right? And that's what you think the legislature meant.
It doesn't matter what I think the legislature meant. If it's clear based on the text, that's all that matters.
That's your assessment of the clear basis in the text.
Again, I'm not looking to construe intent. Whether they meant to say what they said or not, the assumption under the law, as you know, is we assume that they knew what they were doing. We all know that they did, but
You say those orders mean it's Mr. Shockey's intent.
is it Mr. Shockey's intent? Yes. What matters is the LLC's intent or the property.
You say that the words in the statute make it Mr. Shockey's intent.
Yes.
Period. Or any other landowner that's doing so.
That's right.
So Commissioner Leesman's example, 5,000 acres, which could be as many as 1,000 lots, all kinds of roads, everything else. If that developer intends for all of those roads to be private roads, not public roads, they're not. Because the legislature said it's the developer's intent, the owner's intent. Right?
That's what the legislature said, yes.
So what happens whenever the developer is no longer and now the homeowners association and they decide, well, it's not their thing anymore, it's not this same person.
So it would become public if the county purchased that private drive, the county condemned it,
Which is also a purchase.
yeah, we could have to divide 3%. Or if the future owners dedicated it to the public through a street deed, for example, or if a court ruled on an adverse possession claim. That would be helpful.
What he's saying is, as Commissioner Ryder has pointed out, the legislature has given a developer and not subsequent landowners the original site as to what it is, which dictates what he's saying is that's what dictates what the commissioner can't change it. And he might be right.
And I certainly hear your concerns, Commissioner Riley and others. But I think that's a conversation with your legislators, our legislators, if there's concerns about how the law was written. Unfortunately, I'm just going with the law that we have today.
I don't know, we'll I for one, am just, because that process, that conversation with the legislator, and let's just say that little old Lincoln County could actually get it fixed. That's probably 3 years out from an effective date, and at least 2 years out from an effective date, and there'll be a lot of subdivisions put in place in the meantime that will have substandard roads by your definition.
Why not
It
just,
is a substandard road,
why not just have a two-track, you know? Why they need to build it, just out of benefit faster, you know?
I can't see it benefit anybody but the developer.
Okay. Hopefully we haven't mistreated you. We don't know your name,
I don't disagree at all, but I appreciate your hard questions.
but anything else?
No, I definitely hear your concerns. I don't think that, I think this is going to be a good development. I have complete confidence in that. I don't think there's going to be an issue with it. I understand the broader concerns about the next exception and how it's written. But all I would ask is that look at the statute and apply the facts and the law. And that's all.
I'm trying to give you the last word, but I can't help myself because it sounds like a good development. And Commissioner Riley, I think, epitomizes the frustration that he's doing everything else first class. And then a substandard road.
That was after granting other
variants.
variances. I mean, this was,
But it's a nice subdivision, it could be.
I would say yes.
So that's our question.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you.
All right, so the agenda item is action regarding parcel of land, known as private subdivision. And that name is proposed applicant David land division, let me see. Anyone? Let me see, I think the rules,
You have to accept it or deny it.
I think that's correct.
So I make a motion to deny the affidavit of land location regarding planning exceptions for the private road subdivision.
Is there a second? Mr. Riley, discussion.
And the discussion would be based on the notification of being there's a road being built in the subdivision. That's the reasoning for my denial.
A substandard.
A substandard, correct.
Okay. Trying to think if there's a way to project our next move. I guess we take care of this business, done business first. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Item 17. Involving action regarding the private subdivision.
So, same subdivision. And on here, wanting to acknowledge and notice the cancellation of the private road subdivision application by developer Michael Shockey. And number 2, to authorize the release of letter of credit. I owe $2 million, in lieu of a construction bond.
I make a motion to authorize the cancellation of the private road subdivision application, and authorize the release of the letter of credit, $2 million in lieu of a construction bond.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Riley, discussion. So I want to make sure,
This was just a preliminary plat, it's never final.
hang on before, I'll give you a moment, but I want to make sure. Is there any file? Notice of cancellation?
I'm sorry.
Is there a notice of cancellation on file?
Yes.
Okay.
Who put that in?
I do remember that Mr. Shockey stood right where you were and said, no, wait a minute, I don't think I want to cancel, I want to think about this a lot. Then he hired, Holland and I and others, but that said, there was, I just wanted to make sure that there was a full document called the notice of cancellation. That we can. So,
I think that the client would like time to assess how to proceed from here. If, I don't know that we want to cancel. I don't know that we want to cancel the subdivision application. This is the first one. I would like
time to assess.
I don't think he was anticipating this being on the agenda today. And given the previous vote from 16, we may want to keep this application alive on 17 if we can delay cancellation.
Couple of questions about that. Doesn't that lead us, are we leading the county into further jeopardy because we're supposed to act on these things within 30 days, and this is going on for months and months? If we say, sure, it takes some more time, aren't we just exacerbating the problem? And that's asking you, I've got a lawyer in the back of the room, that's asking you basically to look out for our interest, but I'm concerned that we're gonna look bad the more we delay this. We're gonna look like, you're already arguing we don't follow the law. Well, if we don't act on this, we're not following the law.
Well, in your previous vote, you essentially said that we're going to have to get a subdivision plat done. And so I have not discussed with my client whether or not to appeal that decision on 16. If he decides to not appeal it, then he would want to proceed under the subdivision application rather than have to restart the process all over again.
But right here, to Honorable Red Ray, County Judge, notice of cancellation of private road subdivision application, request for release of letter of cancellation, of that certain letter of credit, signed and notarized.
The letter of credit's been swapped out for bond, so I think the facts have changed since then. Maybe we need a minute to discuss, if possible.
You think you can give us your thoughts today?
Yes.
And Commissioner Leisman and Commissioner Riley are willing to postpone the vote on item 17 and move on to 18 and 19 before we come back to it.
Okay. Thank you.
Looking to item 18 for the time being, is the proposed subdivision and variances. Commissioner Riley.
So, they submitted their plat, and there were a list of items from Ron Bishop said that, come on up and say your name.
Good morning, Judge and Commissioners. Tim Quatching with Matt Cambridge Engineering.
Hold on a second. Let's place again.
Jeez.
All right, sorry.
Tim Quatching with Matt Cambridge Engineering.
Okay, and there was a list of items. I went out with Ron and met with everybody, the team, the developer, at Ranches and River Springs, and there was a list of items from as simple as wordage on flat to drainage issues that were needing to be addressed, either from water drainage towards 165 or just water drainage and pipe sizes on the road and things like that. And y'all have not acknowledged all that and are now in the process of revising all that to fit into our subdivision
application of the new rules in the 30-day time period, so, submitting the plat and construction plans, getting them reviewed and comments addressed, this is tough within that 30-day period, so, basically we're asking for conditional approval of the plat, conditional upon all the comments being addressed for plats after.
So, with that being said, I move to approve that additionally, the approval and the items on the engineer's review. You said.
Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Gleason, discussion. How many items?
What's that?
How many items on, you said condition on the items in the engineer's report, that's your report.
No, it's, it said no such a
Our
15.
I think there were 15.
Correct, between the plat and the construction plans. Most of them are on the construction plans, having to do with basically design parameters that changed from the previous rules to the new rules. So we started our design with the old rules, and then just before we submitted the plat, the new rules changed, we had updated design parameters. So we just have to get our plans to reflect those new design parameters.
Thank you for working through it.
Did you bring your supervisor with you today, or?
This gentleman, yeah. He's actually my eyes. I forgot my cheaters this morning. I didn't read anything close up on the plat. It's gonna be my eyes.
Everybody comfortable? All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any, I know that, on item 19, it's just a general discussion, I guess it could be possible, I just need to updates, and you're the one that's probably had the most recent conversations.
We've had other conversations mostly on response. But yeah, the response, we can be utilizing some courthouse or some facilities owned by the county for response to the event. So there will be a lot of activity going on in and around the courthouse area.
And response.
Ham radio operators will be located in the hobby room. We'll be utilizing the main bus, more than likely in between the hopper room and the courthouse. So we'll utilize some of the courthouse features as well.
What are you going to be responding to?
So response to the, trying to figure out exactly what's going to happen and how we're going to get to different people. We've talked about placements of locations of where we can replace different assets to have a quicker response time to the instance that might happen. Originally when we were talking, Kerrville is the #1 spot for this location. For the ultimate, looking at a meeting last week, the discussion was held that now Marble Falls is actually the #1. So I'm mostly I was leaning west, and now I'm leaning a little bit more northwest. So making sure that we have assets placed in Round Mountain that we can accommodate and try to get with that. I've had meetings with the city of Austin and Gators, along with Gillespie County and Kendall County, working on radio communications amongst the counties. Thinking that during this event, cell service will be limited. So we want to make sure that we have radio communications. Our primary plan is using our current radio system. Based on that, we have a 5-channel site with 4 talk capabilities. So if we start getting a lot of visits throughout those areas, then we'll have to start working on the conventional side and more just site-to-site type of talking. And then our ultimate backup will be the ham operators relaying information back to the state.
I know you talked about having water and fuel.
Yes.
Available. Have you or Chief Woodring or somebody gathered together the pool of wreckers for the electric vehicles? Because when they go down there now.
So we've talked talked yesterday during our meeting, and Mr. Woodring was not in that, but we've talked about trying to do a northwest and south zone and utilizing record services. We have 3 records that are on rotation with the county, and utilizing them as a priority. One's priority north, one's priority west, and one's priority south.
But that is the answer, right, to
Yeah, once an electric vehicle dies, it's locked up. So from what I got, talked with TxDOT in that scenario, worst case scenario, they have to clear their roadways. So that's, some of them enjoy that, some of them might not. The owner of that system might not enjoy that too much.
The day of the week that this is gonna fall into the first, it's on Monday, so are you gonna keep set up for
We'll start.
prior and afterwards?
We'll start setting it up on either Saturday or Sunday, and then we'll go all the way into Tuesday. So depending on how it works.
Give people a chance to
Right.
leave if they.
Yeah, so, the gathering of the people will, we'll go into them starting Friday, we think. And then, by the time the event's over, it's gonna be a rush to get out. So that's where our goal is, I've already got the fuel, I've already got part of the fuel in place. And then the pallets of water have been ordered, so I'll be delivering. I've got some of those that have already been delivered to the south end. I just got the north end to get them pallets of water. Luckily, we do all have MREs that we can hand out for food rationing. And, I'm not gonna take try it, right, Connie?
Not bad.
So, but anyway, that's, I'm purchasing fuel cans to have in the patrol vehicles, that they can take, and try to get, if someone runs out of fuel, get them 5 gallons of gas, get them moving on down the road. So, our goal is to utilize our typical, gas cards during this event, and then if for some reason there's an issue, we have a backup supply of fuel in the county, and then TxDOT has some fuel that that is available if necessary. Been on that.
Okay. Anything else? Close.
Keep in mind, both Johnson City and Blanco ISD will be closed that day.
Those stadiums, or even Fairground stadiums, we can, somebody thought about it, would be nice places to.
Yeah, I don't know. I know the Johnson City School District is anticipating on trying to get everything locked down, so it's just having so they can get in. So, and I think I must have, we heard yesterday that it was a 20 by 20 lot with no water, no electricity for $300 a night, minimum of 3 nights in Elizabeth County. Well, I thought it was 500, but I was told yesterday it was 300. And then they're also doing 10 by 10 like canopy size.
It does like 150.
150. They pop up.
What do you call it? 20. Shall we return to item 17?
Thank you, Judge and Commissioners, for a minute to discuss that. Given the vote on 16, we would respectfully request to rescind the notice of cancellation. And we do have a bond, all of our discussion last time, that will be delivered tomorrow to your offices, to solve the letter credit. And allow them to know all of the location may have to.
Well, what does rescinding the notice of cancellation mean?
That we would still have an active subdivision application and proceed under county rules based on that.
It's the same question I had to do last time. Are we following into the trap that we aren't doing something fast enough by allowing this to keep dragging on?
I think that the shot clock is not an issue. If the application is not complete for some reason, for example, the road was need to be modified or needs to be a variance, then I would get action not has to be taken until that design turns off.
So is that the plan?
That's a strategic discussion that we haven't fully fleshed out. So maybe they cancel the entire development, maybe they kill, maybe they proceed under the application and seek variances or provide prior road throughout the.
Okay, there's no commitment to doing that, you're looking at all those options.
Yes, essentially we don't want to have to come back and start from scratch on a subdivision application if we're going to proceed with it anyways.
I understand, I can only speak for myself, but, it seems, once again, like, Mr. Shockey wants to control everything and decide when the shot clock stops, when the shot clock starts, and, we're just supposed to go along for the ride. If you had come and said, okay, we're gonna redo the road, we're gonna have a county spec, I'd be all on board. But that's not where we are, we're back, we're nowhere bigger than we were the last two times. Are we? No. So there's still a motion on the floor. Mr. Easton's the motion, Mr. Riley's second.
Is, again, can I hear the motion again, is to
Acknowledge the cancellation of the private road subdivision application and authorize the release of the letter of credit, $2 million.
okay, but is it acknowledging that the bond's gonna be in place of that, or are we done with that, plans go back to them, start over, and it will be bond?
It seems to me that, I know that's how it's worded, and things have changed since then, but it seems to me that if you're gonna do number one, number two is, whichever it is, whether it's a letter of credit or a bond, we release it.
Yeah, we release it, but are we gonna put a bond in lieu of that?
Let's
For what?
Well, because in the last meeting, he was talking about, how we wanna keep the plat, right?
That's a letter of credit release. The letter of credit has been released? Oh, okay.
Okay, if the subdivision application is canceled, there would be no bond and letter of credit.
That's my thinking too. She's saying that the letter of credit has not been released.
It's not released.
So your motion's good on that point, but there's a bond somewhere between his office and our office.
But the bond is not necessarily legitimate based on the size and the type of road, so we don't know. You know, the construction of the road that we're proposing might not be a sufficient amount that the bond is set.
That's why I was asking, should the plans go back? They revise the plans if they want to, and if they don't, and then bring them back, not necessarily go through, the checkbox again from ground zero back, but bring that back first and then bond them.
Are you saying that you're kind of in agreement with their bond about giving some time to decide?
Whether to go with what we're doing, it feels to me like when you cancel the letter of credit, then the deal's over with, right? And including the plans, that goes back to the developer. And then they do whatever they want with it, revise them, do whatever they want, and then come back and re-propose them at a later date. And we look at them and accept them and be bonded. Or
The accepting the notice of cancellation, in my view, ends this discussion, ends this application process. And I think, as you're saying, the application process would have to start anew if he wanted to.
That's where I was trying to get to.
Do accept.
Stumbling, but.
That's the motion on the floor.
Fair.
I got the impression that you're wanting to do it one more time.
No, I don't know, get that one done, and start everything, and start another one, and come back, it's a different deal. That's correct?
Yes.
Okay, that's roughly.
and seconded. Any further discussion? Okay. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Mr. King. I think that takes us down to 20 and 23.
And I'll say.
Captain Commissioner Weir first. All fair side. All those